All right, let's get right into it. If you're an experienced operator, you know there's a point where your real value isn't just in what your hands can do, but in how your mind works. And that's exactly what we're talking about today, making that critical shift from just reacting to things to becoming a true operational problem solver.
You know, this quote just nails it. It gets to the absolute heart of the matter. You can have the most advanced control system in the world, but it's only as good as the person watching it. The single biggest factor in keeping a plant safe and efficient, it's not the equipment. It's the quality of the decisions that you make, minute by minute, shift after shift.
So here's the plan for this explainer. We're going to start with the critical decision every operator has to make. Then we'll look at the two different paths you can take, reactive versus problem solver. We'll get into spotting the difference between a symptom and the real problem, and how to read the signals your process is giving you. Then we'll cover the really important stuff, your boundaries, and pull it all together into the problem solver's mindset.
Okay, so let's jump into the main challenge here. Think about it. Most of our training is about reaction. It's about what to do after an alarm goes off. But what if that's looking at the problem completely backward?
This is so important. It's rarely a pump just failing out of the blue that leads to a major incident. No, it's usually a series of small, seemingly minor but incorrect decisions made under pressure that snowball into a huge problem. That's why we're here, to train that crucial and, frankly, often overlooked skill of how to think before you act.
So, every single time something unexpected happens, you're basically standing at a fork in the road, and the mindset you bring to that moment, it determines which path you take. That choice has massive implications for safety, for stability, for everything.
Just look at the difference here. On the left, you've got the reactive operator. Their goal? Stop the noise. Just silence the alarm, make the flashing light go away. But the operational problem solver on the right, they pause. They're trying to understand the music. What is the process actually telling me? One path just creates more risk by chasing symptoms. The other one reduces risk by going after the root cause.
I know. This sounds completely wrong, doesn't it? Especially when alarms are blaring and everyone's looking at you. But a knee-jerk reaction, when you don't really know what's going on, can easily make a bad situation so much worse. Taking a deliberate pause to figure things out isn't inaction. It's a professional, calculated decision to gather some intel before you jump in.
All right, let's dig into the first core skill of a problem solver, and that's the ability to see past the obvious, to distinguish between what's on the surface and what's really happening underneath. So a symptom is the loud part, right? It's the flashing light, the horn, that line on the trend that suddenly shoots up. It's designed to get your attention. But here's where people go wrong. They think the symptom is the problem. It's not. It's just a signpost, and it's pointing toward the real issue.
The problem, the real problem, is the why behind that alarm. It's the change in the feed, or that subtle equipment issue that's causing the symptom you're seeing. If you actually want to solve anything for good, you have to go after this underlying condition.
And this right here, this is the perfect example of the danger of treating symptoms. Every time that operator hits reset, they feel like they've done something. They stop the noise. But the real pressure issue hasn't gone anywhere. In fact, it's probably getting worse. This cycle gives you this false sense of security, while the real risk is just quietly building up in the background.
Now, this next part builds directly on what we just talked about. Once you start looking for the problem instead of the symptom, the next skill you need is reading the data the right way. Because, not every little change is a 5-alarm fire.
A live plant is like a living, breathing thing. It never perfectly flatlines. A great operator develops a feel for the process. They see that normal noise of operation at point 1, and they know, hey, that's fine, I can ignore it. But they also instantly recognize that subtle, dangerous drift at point 2, or that sudden spike at point 3, and they know that is a real signal that something has changed.
So here's the bottom line. Your main job isn't just to watch lines move on a screen. It's to know exactly where that invisible line is, that decision boundary, where just watching isn't enough anymore, and you need to take a controlled, well-thought-out action.
This brings us to what truly defines a professional operator. It's not just about knowing what to do. It's also about knowing what you are not supposed to do. It's about deeply understanding your authority and your responsibility.
Think about your role in these 3 zones. In the green zone, you're a vigilant observer. That's your job. When things drift into the yellow zone, your job shifts. Now it's about preparing for action and communicating clearly with your team. But the second you cross into the red zone, your primary responsibility changes again.
It might be to escalate, to shut down the process, or take some other protective action. It's not to be a hero and try to fix it all yourself. Remember, knowing when to call for backup is a sign of strength, not weakness.
And let's be crystal clear about why these boundaries even exist. A good operator, yeah, they protect the equipment and keep the plant running. But a great operator, they understand that their ultimate duty is to protect the people on site, always. Human safety is the one boundary that you can never, ever cross.
Okay, we've looked at all the different pieces. The core decision, telling symptoms from problems, reading the signals, and knowing your boundaries. Now, let's put it all together. Let's forge this into a single, powerful mindset you can start using on your very next shift.
Just take a second and be honest with yourself. I think we've all been there. The alarm is just annoying, it's a distraction, and hitting reset gives you that instant feeling of relief. But really ask yourself, did that action truly solve the problem, or did it just kick the can down the road?
Think back to a time you were chasing a deviation, tweaking a valve here, adjusting a set point there, only to find out the real issue was something totally different, maybe happening way upstream. It's a classic trap, and it happens when we focus on the effect instead of the cause.
This right here, this is the ultimate test of professionalism. I don't mean just a vague idea. I mean a crystal clear, no doubt in your mind understanding of what you're authorized to do, what requires you to communicate, and what demands you escalate or shut down right away. If the answer isn't a confident yes, then you've just found your first priority.
And this is the final thought I really want to leave you with. The most powerful tool you have in that control room isn't the control system, it's your own mind. By making that shift from a reactive operator to an operational problem solver, you don't just get better at your job, you become the ultimate guardian of your process and the protector of your team.